Hi, welcome back to EducateTube.com. My name is Sipsky, your host. As you can see, I have 5 Sony V-blocking camera. You have the NEX 3N, then you have the 5T, then you have the 5R, then you have the a5000, and then you have the a5100. Now what's missing here, of course, is the a6400, which is a little bit out of my budget. In fact, the a6400 is probably the best V-blogging camera from Sony, but it is twice as expensive as all these cameras put together. And that's why my title is Getting a V-blogging Camera from Sony Under $300. Okay, each one of them is no more than $200 if you buy used. Alright, let's get started. Now before I do that, I just want to save some of you some time, and I'll tell you right now which one is the best one, and I'll go through each one of their pros and cons. Okay, the one I would pick is the Sony NEX 3N, and as well as the a5000. Okay, those are the two cameras I've been using mainly. They're a really good camera because there's one issue that Sony camera has, is that it overheats. These two seems to last much longer than the rest. Although the a5100 with a special external monitor, it can last just as long. All right, but let's go through them and see which one would you want to buy. Starting with this one here, this is the NEX 3N. Now one thing I like about this camera, it is very affordable. You probably can get it for less than $100 used. It has all the features you need to start out for doing vlogging, especially if you want to do YouTube video. Very big APS-C size sensor, as you can see there, like the rest of them. And what this thing has is it has 1080p 24 frames per second. It doesn't have 60 frames per second, so it's very hard to do slow-mo motion on this camera. Okay, but if you're just doing a talking head, this is an ideal camera to have. It doesn't have, or at least it in terms of overheating, it doesn't do that as much. In fact, you can record it for 45 minutes before you actually see the heating signal on the screen. Okay, so I tested it, and this is my second or third NEX 3N. I buy used stuff, you know. This one I just got recently, and yeah, and I can tell you, and I test that this third one also doesn't overheat. Okay, well, unless you record more than 45 minutes continuously, then yes, it will have that heating sign up, and eventually it'll turn itself off. All right, now, other feature, it doesn't have Wi-Fi. It's very simple, you know, 1080p 24 frames per second, big sensor. It does have a flash if you want to use it as photography. It's actually a very good camera for photography, by the way. Because of the big sensor, but you know, very basic. Using the same type of battery, the MP50 W50, just like the rest of them. So that's one thing I like about getting these camera. If you have the extra batteries, you can, if you decide to upgrade, you can sell this camera, and if you have, let's say, 2-3 batteries, you can keep 2 of them. And let's say you want to move up to the Sony a5100 or the a6400, you can use the same batteries. Okay, just be aware of that. Okay, so I really recommend this camera because it's a very affordable. You can probably buy used for less than $100. I've seen it around for less than 70, 80 bucks Canadian. All right, let's look at this one here. This one is, recently I got this one. This is the NEX 5T. The one thing good about this camera, it is very responsive. It can shoot I think it's 10 frames per second, and it can do 1080p 60 frames per second. Can slow motion effect. Okay, it can do that. It has an extra dial. Okay, on this compared to the NEX, as you can see here. Right, so it can help you to navigate the, for example, the shutter speed and the ISO and all that. Okay, so it has that rotating side button here, and also here as well. So very good camera in that way. It doesn't have a built-in flash, but it comes with an external flash you can just screw in. Okay, that comes with it. One thing I like about it, just like the NEX 5T, it has, you can get an optional microphone, external microphone, and this microphone is quite good, right? So just like the NEX 5T, this is a 5R. Okay, what else? These two, let me just talk about these two. Very similar. I wouldn't, buy one over the other, maybe just based on price wise. They both can do 1080p 60 frames per second. They also, I think oh yeah, they're Wi-Fi as well. So you can, they also have an app, you can install app. And these two, just like the a5000 and a5100, you can actually mod it so that you can break the 30-minute limit. But here's the catch though. These two, the NEX 5R and 5T, overheats, and it's pretty bad. I mean, you can record about 12 to 15 minutes continuously, and then it will shut itself off. Okay, that's how bad it is. So if you want to do a short blogging video, short talking head interview, that kind of stuff, limit it to 10 minutes. Okay, if it's beyond 10 minutes, I would not recommend this too. Okay, even though like you have this optional feature where you can add in microphone there, which is really good, add better sound. Again, it's got to be very short interview for that. Okay, now the image quality come from these two are as amazing as the a5000 and the a5100. Okay, the more modern vlogging camera from Sony. And what else I want to say? Other than that, yeah, just that's why I would not pick these two, because the overheating issue is pretty bad. Only 10 to 15 minutes before it shuts itself off, or for video recording, of course. But for photography, this is an excellent camera. If you're just focusing on photography, I would definitely recommend these two cameras. But if you're talking about like vlogging more than 10 minutes, yeah, I wouldn't buy it. Okay. All right. Now the a5000 is somehow, that's the weird thing about the a5000. If you look at the spec, the a5000 actually have a lower spec than the NEX 5T and 5R, even though those are the older model. What I mean by lower spec is that you cannot do 1080p 60. The maximum you can do is 1080p, I think 30 frames per second. You can't go higher than that. Now it does have Wi-Fi, it does have app, and you can download, and you can also unblock the 30-minute limit to make it 60 minutes, which is why I highly recommend this second, because I recommend this one already, NEX 3N. This is my second camera I recommend, even though it doesn't have as much stuff as these NEX 5T and 5R. One thing it does excel in is that it doesn't overheat as bad as these two. In fact, I have tested, this is my third a5000. I gave one to my brother, I sold one, and this is my personal one. This one, after testing it, it doesn't, just like the NEX 3N, it doesn't overheat until after 45 minutes. Okay, now if you hook it up to the external monitor, it will last for a couple hours. In fact, in certain situation, like say in a normal room temperature, like I'm talking about between 20 to 24 degrees, you probably won't see the overheating signal until after an hour or so. Okay, now if you do a continuous shooting, yeah, after an hour or so you'll see it. You hook it up to the external monitor, and as long as you use this as a video camera, and then through the HMI output to the external monitor recorder, then it may last quite for a long time, as long as your battery can handle that duration. Okay, so highly recommend this one, and then you can probably get this one for under $200. All right, not including the lens, of course, just the body, for under 200 used. Okay, an excellent used camera. The last one I have is this one here. I recently bought this one as well. This is my favorite one. This is the Sony a5100. Now this one does have an overheating issue problem. Not as bad as these NEX 5R and 5T, but it's around 22 minutes it will shut itself off. Okay, so I found a workaround it. You can check my previous video. The workaround is to hook up to the external monitor recorders like the Ultimo Shogun 4K that I have. Now you probably try other external monitor, probably work the same. But if I hook it up to that external monitor recorder, I was able to extend this indefinitely. I mean, the heat signal does show up, but it doesn't shut itself off, which is pretty good, right? So this can act as a video camera, and then you hook up the HMI and let the external monitor recorder do the rest of the computing, and so you don't have to worry about the overheating issue. Now this one has all the feature that NEX 5R and 5T has, which is like 1080p 60 frames per second. It has the app, the Wi-Fi, and I think there was one more if I can remember, but it is a very good camera overall, other than overheating issue. If you have that external monitor, then this is definitely the one I recommend after the a5000 and the NEX 3N. Okay, so in terms of a recommendation for the best affordable camera, simple 3N NEX 3N, and then for overall simple but upgrade from the NEX 3N is the 5000. And if you have external monitor recorder, then go for the a5100. Okay, that's what I recommend you do. For photography, all of them is excellent. Okay, for the bang for the buck, if you're talking about photography, definitely go for the NEX 5T and 5R. You probably get these two for under 150 used. All right, so yeah. What else can I say? Yeah, if you have the money, of course, you can get the a6400, but like I said, that's like $1,200 Canadian plus tax and everything. So for half of that price, you can get all these cameras, and that's what I did. Now I'm gonna probably sell one of them because I don't need that many of a camera, but I do like these APS-C camera. The vlogging style with a flip-up screen, very useful. Like it's never, I would say it's never enough for having these cameras. In fact, it's more to have it as a backup cameras, and they're great for that. If I destroy one of them, like I say, I drop one of the and just replace it with one of these, I save a lot of money. Imagine if I have the 6400, if I drop one of those, that's huge amount of money lost. Where these, it's almost like those disposable film, couple 100, 200 bucks. If it's damaged, replace one of them, which is great. Okay, so that's my take on these camera. Hopefully that give you a better decision making in choosing these Sony vlogging or flip up screen cameras. Yeah, thanks for watching EducateTube.com.